The hell? Fine then. You can die too!
Could do a shard shield. Nah, no time. Damn it! Don't die over a piece of shit like me!
What?
Huh.
What's going on?
Time stopped.
There's a light coming from my great-grandfather's.
Oh boy, you sure are in a sorry mess.
Huh? Huh?
What? How is this?
The hollow from your Zypha.
Zypha. Remember it, Echo. Remember it.
Well, Van, the choice is yours. Will you bear the nightmare or not?
What? What?
What are you...
Since when can hollows appear like this? World's full of mysteries. Are you asking me that question of your own free will?
Huh? Of course I am. Just so we're clear, I could not care less how much trouble you're in. I'm just here to know one thing. Will you bear the nightmare or not?
Man,
Man, today's just one thing after another, huh? My life's been a living nightmare for more than a decade now. So what's a little more fire when you're already in the depths?
Ooh. Ooh. I mean, so this feels... Okay, this is a bit... My initial thought was, we haven't done a time septarian thing yet, have we? I feel like they've mentioned it being acquired, though. But if my speculation about, like, Epstein originally working with Ouroboros, or at least the Grandmaster at the beginning, maybe if this is, like, an original orbment or stuff like that, or from that time period, maybe the orbments were based off a septarian, even. Maybe. Bear the nightmare.
All right, let's do it!
Okay, doing it then. Shard swell. The Grendel's all yours.
What the?
Good question. There's that mech-looking thing. Ha.
What is this feeling?
I don't know.
Well, I'd take fighting this thing over our bosses any day of the week. You're damn right. We're taking you down in the name of Almada!
Okay.
Someone needs to relax. Let's rumble.
The Grendel can act multiple turns in a row. Select what action you want to take from the list and perform the heavy-hitting moves. Only one turn will pass if you select defend, and it will always act as support during Grendel battles. The Grendel's technique can be divided into the following types: basic attacks, crafts, magic crafts, powerful magic attacks, S-crafts. Okay.
You
This
ready
is-
for me?
Not how I expected this to go. I am processing this.
You're an eyesore.
do some damage. It's not all powerful, at the very least.
We'll take that.
S boosts attack usage count. Activate the S boost to increase how many turns the Grendel can perform. Okay.
Full boost. Don't hold back, Dan.
You're an eyesore.
Seems like I can only do one.
Do something already. Eat this.
I didn't really HP absorb super.
Full boost.
Oh, I stayed at 6 indefinitely.
You ready for me?
So I basically just have 3 attacks, right? Just use these every time.
You're an eyesore.
Focus down 1.
I'll let this finish.
Eat this. Cipher activate.
We'll take that. Full boost. Don't hold back, Dan.
Do something already.
Take this.
Eat this.
Ah, he hasn't gone down yet.
Take my shot.
Time for some
He's
payback.
close, though.
You ready for me?
It'll just retarget the other one. Okay.
Eat this.
Oh, no, it didn't retarget the other one. He went down after it all. Oh, well.
Eat this. Eat this.
Oh, thank you. That totally isn't.
I'll let Dan.
Miss. Counter. No.
Our turn
I missed
now.
the auto counter. I missed it so.
Here come. Eat this.
Time for some payback.
Here come. Eat this.
See, I definitely don't need to worry about CP at the very least.
We'll take that.
Feels like that's a given.
There
There we go.
This is unbelievable!
What to make of this?
What is he? Ugh.
Van! Are you alright? How do you feel?
What is a Grendel? It sounds so familiar. Like isn't it like a little? I feel like it's not it's not like a super cool sounding name for like the image that pops up in my head. I will say. Like a little. Okay, it looks more threatening in the Grendel's a character in the Anglo-Saxon epic Beowulf. All line in opposition against the protagonist Beowulf. He is referred to as both an... Don't know the types of beings from wider Germanic mythology. He's also described as the descendant of the biblical Cain and a creature of darkness, exiled from happiness and accursed of God, the destroyer and devourer of our humankind. He's usually depicted as a monster or a giant, although his status as a monster, giant, or other forms of supernatural beings not clearly described in poem, and thus remains the subject of scholarly debate. The character of Grendel and his role in the story Beowulf have been subject to numerous reinterpretations and reimaginings. Grendel is feared by all and hear but Beowulf, who kills both him and his mother. Interesting. I won't read too much into the story stuff. Beowulf is not the one I was expecting. Interesting. It does imply some thematic elements that seem to be like with the nightmare concept and what Van was saying about living a nightmare for 10 years.
I'm fine. Tired as all hell, but I don't feel any pain. Can't believe I just took down a pair of drugged-up mafiosos like they were snot-nosed kids. What a monster.
Honestly, like, if I played that poorly,
What was that? You saw Mare too, right?
Huh. I have no fucking clue. Because of all the crazy ass shit we've seen, I'm trying to think what does that bear similarity to, if anything? At what point does it become like this has to be a septarian effect because it's just so innately different than anything else we've seen? Or it's just Orbit's got better? Maybe. The fact that it's old Orbit plus new Orbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just tell me what you want.
Though, admittedly, artifacts also bear just very different conceptual powers than a lot of the things we've seen. So, like, if you could throw artifacts to anything, right? Usually they're not that over the top.
Figures. All she spits out is what she's programmed. She's got no sentience. The tech hasn't come far enough to give her any.
But... was it the Genesis, then?
I don't think Genesis has came up as a name in the series before, but also at the same time it sounds so familiar. Like, obviously it's come up as like... it being named the Genesis makes sense with my theory, too. About it being like an original orbit based off an artifact or a septarian of some sort.
Can't imagine it was a fluke.
And if it was based off an artifact, it could be based off an artifact that just happens to have these powers in some form. Maybe, like, obviously this didn't transfer to the orbments that much, but maybe that's why it, like, works with the orbments in a way that was able to do that. That could make a lot of sense, actually.
So that thing's called a Genesis?
Yes, or that's what my great-grandfather called it in his diaries. It's supposed to be one of 8, called collectively the Oct Geneses.
Okay.
You saying there's 8 of these? I'm gonna guess it was behind everything that happened here. Behind Mare showing up, behind me turning into that weird monster, behind spirits popping up down here too.
Then we're of the same mind. The diaries describe them as for experimental observation and nothing more.
Of course they elected to omit the finer details. You know, when I accepted this job, I didn't think it'd be from a relative of the one and only Professor Epstein.
Oh, okay, so it is just straight up Epstein? I was figuring it was like someone from that era or something like that, but I didn't necessarily think that it had to be Epstein.
Huh?
He is curiously unexplored outside of his, like, legacy in a lot of places, so there is some interesting story to tell there.
Dead on, huh? That thing was made half a century ago, around the time of the Orbital Revolution. It's easy to tell by looking at it just how much precision and skill went into making it. Then you got that it's an orbment capable of doing artifact-level stuff. Even Epstein's 3 disciples couldn't have made something so advanced back then. Knock them out of the running, and you're left with the father of modern tech, Claude Epstein.
Claude? Oh,
I'm sorry for hiding it from you. I'll tell you everything there is to say. It all started when...
Not now. Put it away, quick.
Van, are you all right?
Oh, I see. We were a few minutes too late.
Those 2 are...
They're from Almada. We finally caught them.
Get lost!
This is our territory!
Who do you think you're talking to? This isn't a job for civilians.
Well, the good news is that there's 2 of them, and you can split them up. And you can make them not trust each other what they're going to do. Prisoner's dilemma.
Just what happened here? I can see that you fought them, but beyond that...
We fought, yeah. With how pumped full of drugs they were, it was a miracle we could make it out with our skin intact.
Uh-oh.
As curious as I am about how you emerged victorious, I trust you were able to help your client?
No comment. That's between me and her. Now, I know I owe both sides here a debt, but consider them paid. They might be at the bottom of the chain, but they're still in Almada. You can have one each.
Excuse me.
Who gave you the authority to...
I suppose we do owe him for neutralizing them.
Very well. We shall take them in between us.
Maybe if you're lucky enough, they'll even talk. Now come on, let's get out of here.
Oh, sure. But let me help you walk.
I'm good.
This is clearly only the beginning of something much greater. Sharpen your skills while you can, Van.
Will do, Renee.
Kincaid.
Unbreakable heart. Interesting thing on his jacket.
I can't let him keep living like this. Why must you insist on shouldering all of the burden yourself?
The other upside is, like, they actively told us they didn't know anything.
Damn. Guess I'm going without dinner.
So they actively told us they didn't know anything, and they're also gonna, like, not talk. So we just gave them both dead ends. Like, we gave them, but they're also both dead ends for their investigations.
You even good to be out this late? I thought students had a curfew.
That's kind of you to think of me, but I received permission to be out this late beforehand. Never mind my curfew. Won't you let me see to your arm? Do you have a first aid kit in the office?
I do, but...
It looks like it started healing on its own.
I know it wasn't that bad in the first place, but it's still healing way too fast for it to be normal. Wonder if I got that orbment or turning into a monster to thank for this.
This all began with those diaries. They were passed down from my great-grandfather to my grandmother, and then down to my mother until her death 4 years ago. As you guessed, my great-grandfather is the famous Professor Epstein. It was known at the time that he had an adopted daughter, but she went missing very suddenly after he passed away. By the sound of it, something compelled her to shy away from the public eye. I don't know what that something was. It wasn't written in the letter she left me. Then after my mother died, my father began to lose himself in his work. And now all alone, I became more and more captivated by the many diaries that were left behind. They weren't filled with complex formulae or specialist knowledge or things like that. Instead, they were about who he was as a person, what he was like, what his philosophies were, what he valued most in life. He wrote about the little things that colored his days, his bonds with his loved ones, his time spent with his disciples. I could see through every word written that he was a kind, warm-hearted man with a good sense of humor. A man I could respect a great deal. I was so happy to have his writings so I could peer into his world, just like my mother and grandmother before me. And before I knew it, those diaries became my most treasured possessions. However, at At the end of his final entry, on the very last page, I found a shocking message. It said, "Recover the Oct Genesis before the year 120X.
Oh, okay. Might this be related to Ouroboros' plan?
Else all we know will come to an end."
Oh.
Pretty ominous thing to write down.
Interesting.
It could have been a delusion that came to him in the winter of his years. But I began to feel that it was why his diaries had been passed down to me. And as the days wore on, my desire to do something to avert the end he foretold grew stronger and stronger. But I knew I couldn't go public with any of it. Not with my grandmother's disappearance. That led me to enroll at Armus Academy, where I met a very dependable upperclassman. Her advice took me to the Orbalnet, and that led me to you. I just never thought when I started all of this that these would be the consequences. That someone would die. That you would be put in so much danger.
Well, you managed to get one of them. Even if there are still 7 more out there, you could always call it quits here.
I can't. Not when they're what connect me to my family. Not when I now know they really exist. And not after seeing that final entry. I can't look away from all of that. Here. This 50,000 Mira is everything I was able to gather for this. Please, accept it as compensation for all the help you've given me.
I thought I told you my rate.
Well, you did, but I don't feel that it accounted for that injury you sustained because of me. I intend to find the remaining 7 on my own. I don't want anyone else to get hurt because of my problems. Oh, but I'll be very careful about it. Promise. Huh?
My rate's 1,000 Mira an hour, excluding other necessary expenses. I'll bump it up a little because of the danger involved, but you rolled up your sleeves more than your average client. You put yourself in danger to help me. Any more than 10,000 would be ripping you off. This is how the world of work is. Good thing you're still in school, because you got a lot to learn.
Maybe, but still. I'm sorry. I just feel you've taken on a lot more than you bargained for from start to finish.
To be honest, that whole turning into a monster thing's got my interest piqued. So it wouldn't feel right to ask you for even more Mira with how we're gonna keep this thing going.
What are you...
Hey, he's got enough Mira to bankroll another 4, so...
Unless you decide to give up altogether, I'll pitch in however I can from here on out. In exchange, you can share any info you got on the Genesis, or anything those diaries say. How's that sound?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but are you telling me that even though you know it might be dangerous, you're going to help me search for the other 7 without taking additional compensation?
No, you got money to pay me. We've got at least 4 more of these that we can handle, right?
Hey, info's good compensation. I ain't taking a single Mira, though. I'm gonna need you to get more used to real combat, too, for your own safety. Can't have you leaving yourself wide open and all that good stuff. And I'm gonna drill it into you until you're up to snuff.
I don't know. This doesn't sound like a fair trade at all. I'm the only one benefiting here. Well, if you insist, Van, then thank you very much. Having your support means a lot to me.
Yeah, well, I'll be counting on you, too. All right, now that today's done and dusted, time for my hard-earned reward.
The cake. Yes. I should buy a cake.
I've been waiting for my Andalusia fig and honey tart all day.
Ooh. I should go out and buy a cake just to celebrate Trails Through Daybreak coming out.
I was gonna scarf it down all by myself, but you pulled your weight today, so let's go half-half.
Thank you. Oh, But I still want to say, it really does bother me just how much I benefit from this arrangement compared to you. I was thinking of a way to even it out and thought, how about I work here part-time?
You want a what?
You seem to be so busy that I can't imagine how you find the time to clean up around here. I'm also good at secretarial work too, so I'm sure I'd be a big help with sorting paperwork and whatever else you need. Just a standard wage is fine, or even no wage. Unpaid is totally fine.
Ah, the true intern experience.
I can't do that. Haven't you ever heard of labor laws? And forget that. This whole idea is crazy. How did me hiring you even get into your head?
Well, it's because you won't accept any Mira from me.
Well, we can still accept Mira. You still got money.
I understand you have your own way of doing things, but I have my own pride to satisfy, You'll just have to compromise. Now, let me just cut this tart into 2 so we can dig in and enjoy. Don't worry, I'll make sure you get the bigger portion. And where do you keep your coffee beans? Oh, there they are.
She has become significantly more aggressive. Assertive.
Wait, how did you find them so... Who said you could make yourself at home this fast?
Interesting. A lot to process in that. A lot of unfamiliar faces and familiar faces and all that sort of fun stuff. So that brings us to the end of the prologue. Received. Oh yeah, that's like the narrative reward even.
Gotta keep this up.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, I guess.
4 SPGs and making up by completing 4 SPG. Okay. Sounds like the typical.
I'm Agnes Claudel. I still have a lot to learn, but I promise I'll do whatever I can to keep up.
Recruit. Oh my goodness, are we gonna do this every time? Ooh, I wonder how many of the other party members are just gonna like join the place. Okay. That's probably a good place to end this recording, at least. I think I'm basically just going to go play this for the rest of the day, though. So. Ooh. That opening had a lot to chew on. I'm still sort of sad that it's not like the 2D representation, like a 2D anime art. Specifically because we don't see that in-game, and it's really nice to, like, it feel So, okay, so you know that feeling when like a game you really like gets like an anime adaptation, or like a manga you like gets an anime adaptation, and you're just seeing them in this different form of like in a realized world in this other art style and stuff like that. That's part of why I really like the anime style ones. Even if like there's some choppy quality here and there. With that said, it's a really interesting fresh start because so much of this feels so incredibly fresh. Is probably the way I'd have to phrase it. There's so much just visuals that it's like, I don't recognize that. I don't recognize that. I don't recognize that. Ooh, I recognize that. I don't recognize that. I don't recognize that. Ooh, I recognize that. Like there was a couple characters in that look to be returners. Ren, obviously. I think I saw Fee. I wasn't sure. I think that was Fee with the bracers. I vaguely remember hearing about. Was it in one of the previews, or did I just see like art of her like at some point in the past 3 years that this game has been out? That was like an older Fee that I thought was her there. There's also Riksha was there. So there's that, and then there's. I think they showed other Grendels, or if they're even called Grendels at that point. There's 3 other ones. Shoot. What did it say in the Beowulf myth? He's one of the poem's 3 antagonists, along with his mother and the dragon. That would count to 4, so it couldn't necessarily be purposely trying to, entirely trying to, like, take inspiration from the Beowulf myth. So, either way, how could they have to do with the end of the world? Ooh, I'm really curious about the nature of these things. I'm wondering how much of it is just going to be straight up artifacts, basically. Either way, I think I'll leave it there, and I'll see you all next time. Drive safely, everyone.